Hello. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. I just love spring. This is such a great time of year. It is absolutely beautiful where I'm from today, and I hope you are experiencing the same. So, today I have the last of our masculine cards, or of course we'll make other masculine cards this year, but this is the last one as far as in the series of masculine cards that I have been working on. And today we're using a fun set called Oh Dear, and this is perfect for the outdoorsman in our lives. And let me just show you the cards. And I called this just a simple trio of cards because one of my tips for making masculine cards is keeping them on the simple side. I think that masculine cards, if they get a little too frou-frou, you kind of lose the masculinity. So that is one of my tips when you're making masculine cards. So the first one says, "You are so dear to me." Oh dear, another year. So this would be a birthday card. And then this one, "Good things come to those who wait." And so if anyone's a hunter, they know that you might have to sit and wait a while, right? So any of these can make great cards for the guys in our lives. So one of the other tips I wanted to share with you, besides keeping it simple, is a monotone color palette. So even if you're doing like a blue or a green, keeping it kind of on the monotone can help you create that kind of masculine feel. So let's go ahead and take a look at our products real quickly. There's not that many today. We're using the Oh Dear stamp set. I'm using the scratchy plaid background. And I'm using the shaker maker. And you know what? I just realized I forgot to pull one of my inks. So let me grab that real quickly. I am going to be using this kind of a dark red or maroon color ink to create our background. If you're out there with me, if you would say hello there in the chat. I'm getting a really weird kind of look on my screen, so I don't know what that means, but everything seems to be moving along normal, so I'll just keep going. So, all right, to get started, let's begin with a little bit of coloring. So I have gone ahead and I have stamped out a couple of our images. And one of the things I wanted to point out to you was stamping your images on the same color paper that you're going to use in your background. That is a good way to make your image seem like it's coming kind of, that it's part of this background rather than another piece that you're adding on top. So you can see here that I stamped one on white, and I'm not going to color and cut it out for you, but you can see that if that was put on there, it would have a totally different look. So one of the ways of keeping your kind of monotone color theme going on is to stamp your image on that same color. And even if like this was a pale green, if you were doing this exact same card in greens instead of brown, go ahead, stamp your deer on that pale green, and that's going to give you the same look that I've created here. All right, I'm going to grab my Memento ink, and we have one that we're going to stamp real quickly. And that's going to be this guy right here. Just going to kind of get his placement. Maybe move him over a little bit more. I don't want the frame to cover up his antlers or anything. So, okay, we're just going to go ahead and stamp him, and then we're going to do some coloring. Alrighty. Okay, so to color these, I have picked a variety of brown markers. My darkest is E57, E35, E34, and then I have two lighter ones, E31, and then the E43 is the one that pretty much matches my paper. Okay? So I'm going to start with the, whoops, the other end. I'm going to start with this darkest, and in all the places on my image where the artist has colored it the darkest, I'm just going to go over that with my darkest color. And coloring is one of those things that everybody just has to do what, you know, looks good to them. And I'm going to go ahead and do this to all of my images at the same time. I think that might be a little faster than doing each one individually. Maybe right up in there. There we go. Just kind of following those same lines that the artist already has put in there for you. For me, that's the way I have to do it because I am not an artist. I love to color, but knowing where the lights and darks should go is not always my forte. So when the artist is good enough to write it, that helps me a lot. So now I'm just going to come in with my next darkest color and just go around all those places that I've already colored. Also going to add some shading up here in the antlers, the ears, maybe down the side of his face and neck some. Okay. Just like I said, going over those darkest areas in his antlers with my second darkest color. Gonna finish off his antlers here. Now I did fussy cut around these two images. Whoops, we forgot to do the second darkest color on this guy. I hope you can see okay. When I put this brown background on my table, it kind of altered the lighting in my room, on my table space. So I'm going to purchase a white one, I think, and go back to the white because it makes it a little harder for me because I had to turn my lights to keep it from glaring. So I don't know how much of that you pick up on. But I think I'm going to go back to a white surface soon. We'll see. All right, here. So I'm going to come in with the next one. And now my lightest one that is not the color of my paper. I'm going to go ahead and finish off all the areas, kind of just going over everything, blending it all together. All right, I'll hold him up so you can kind of see him. So you can see how just going along how the artist added the shading and using your markers to just follow that shading. That's how I do it. So hopefully if any of you are like me and you know, love to color, but appreciate the artist's help, I hope that gives you at least one way of going about it. So there we go. Finish this fella off, and it looks like I did forget the antlers on this guy. All right. All right, so it doesn't look like I need to do this anywhere, but it's everything looks pretty good there. I am going to come back and just add a little bit to this guy's antlers because I forgot to do those. There we go. All right, so now that we have our coloring done, we're going to set these aside, and the next thing we're going to do is create our background. So I have three brown, this is just a brown cardstock. You could use craft, I suppose, and we're going to add some plaid to our background. So one thing I like to have is a, whoops, that's not the right size. Let me grab one that'll cover it. Yeah, that'll do. It's just a piece of scrap paper, or this is like a piece of kind of chipboard that's on the back of a pad of paper. And when I do a big background stamp like this, I like to add my ink. Then I'm just going to lay my paper down and then take this secondary piece and go over the top. Making sure I press over the whole piece to get all the corners. And let's see how we did. All right, that's how I find to be the easiest to use one of these large background stamps. So we're just going to do that 3 times. If you're mass producing a card, I find this to be an easy technique to mass produce. So tell me, does anybody have any fun vacation plans for this summer? It's spring right now, but summer's approaching quickly. Which I'm looking forward to. I really like swimming pool weather, you know, when it's warm enough to get in the water. That's one of my favorite things to do in the summer, so we spend a lot of time on the back porch, and look at that, got my hands all in it. All right, there we go. I'm going to very quickly just clean myself up so I don't transfer ink all over everything that we don't want ink on. There we go. Get it off my hands. Okay, all crafters keep baby wipes close at hand. All right, okay. There we go. Okay, we'll set this aside. So the next step for preparing our backgrounds. Now you could definitely just go ahead and use them like this, but you can see on my card, to give that more interest, we're going to go ahead and ink the edges. And I'm going to use the vintage photo to do that. And we're just going to go all the way around these, doing the edges. You can just do those as dark or as light as you like. But this is a step that I think is really missed if you decide to skip it. I think it adds a lot to the card to have that done. You can see just that simple thing adds so much, in my opinion. So reason I brought up vacations here is my husband and I, we have several vacations planned for this summer. Some are crafty events and others are just time for my husband and I to get away. So several of my live videos will actually not be live. There's a handful of time there where you'll find them under the video tabs on the website, and they will be pre-recorded. So if you're one that usually, likes to tune in and interact live, you'll actually find those videos under the video tab rather than under the live tab. I wanted to give you a heads up about that because there's going to be probably 4 or 5 that will have to be pre-recorded because of different vacations that I'm taking. My daughter-in-law is actually graduating from PT school, so we will be going for that soon, and then everything just gets real busy after that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, now that we have our plaid backgrounds all made, we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of that ink to each of these pieces as well. Pulling it in a little bit. While I have that ink out, we'll go ahead and do this. Maybe a little bit more. And you'll notice that on all of these, I'm keeping my color palette as all these shades of browns. There's no, other than a little bit of black, we've kept it very monochromatic. I should probably qualify. This is not to say that masculine things can't be colorful. Of course they can. Like we're going to take a look back at some of the other cards we've made, and certainly men like color. This is just to give that kind of a masculine feel to your card. This is just one trick that will create that masculine feel. So I'm not in any way saying that all masculine cards have to be, darker or monotone colors, because that's not it at all. But the other thing I want to tell you, these cutout pieces that we've done, I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to lightly go over those as well, creating a little bit of shadow around the edges. And I'm just going right over the top of my coloring. And I'm going to hold them up so you can kind of see how that makes a difference. All right. And boy, have I, look at my hands. I'm inky today. I don't remember these cards being so messy, but I sure am getting messy today. Okay. So I have used our shaker maker, And this inner frame piece, I have gone ahead and I have die cut that 3 times out of the wood grained paper in our Colonial American paper packet. So I have almost used that paper till it's completely gone. So I don't even have the packet to show you, but I've also made some background frames that are cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Our plaid pieces here are just a 1/4 inch smaller, so we get that nice outline of black. And we're going to go ahead and just glue these down and get those ready to go. Yeah, the color choices are very much just kind of a trick or a tip that can help. If you're struggling with masculine cards, that might be something you can try to create that more masculine feeling, but more just a trick to try if you're struggling with it. But I do always think when making masculine cards, throwing in some dark colors along with your brights is another way of creating a masculine feel. And then I always think keeping your embellishments to a minimum is a good way to go on the masculine cards as well. So now the little frames that I have, we're going to go ahead and we're going to lay these out on our cards. And we go. This little deer, I kind of liked him coming out of the corner here. Right down here, kind of tucking his body in there. So he's kind of like just sticking his head in. And then this one. And of course I just trimmed that piece so it fits behind my frame. Put this a little above center. And put him right here. So this is kind of how I had them laid out. And I'm just going to go ahead and glue those down. Oops. Make sure I got that covering the right place. There we go. I think it might be easier to put my glue on this piece. I just hit my mouse. Hopefully I didn't like turn the computer off or something. That would be just like me to like stop things in the middle. Let's not do that. Okay. All right, so I have also cut some little black strips to keep my embellishments simple. This is another thing you can do, and they're just like about a 1/4 inch wide, maybe a little thicker, and just adding a black strip somewhere on the card is a simple but effective embellishment idea. And I just kind of put them in different places on each card. Let's see, on this one, maybe across the bottom. All right, so you can see how just the black strip, and I had some of these cut from another project that I did. This is from an edger die set that comes from Whimsy Stamps, and I just wanted to kind of see the difference. And instead of just the thin black strip, of doing something like this. So to me, this piece is a much more like feminine piece. I think there's something about curves that just says feminine to our brain, where the very straight edge just says more masculine. You see that in furniture and in art, so it's more of, I'm struggling to find the right word this morning to describe that, but whoops, did you know what? I glued that down without putting our little guy down in there, but that's okay. But it's kind of like just in our psyches. It's in our makeup, in our brain. It's not like a conscious thing. It's just when we look at things, that's what our brains just are wired to kind of see that. It may be cultural. I'm not sure. But I'm not going to go with a pretty curvy piece. I'm going to save these for another project. But I just kind of wanted to show you how that difference is there with the different shapes can... Oops, this one, there we go. This is my shorter one. There we go. And none of these are lifted up in any way. I'm just gluing these all very flat cards. Just noticed something. I got a little piece peeking out right there. Cut that off. There we go. It's kind of the same thing like with the plaids, you know, that all just lends itself to masculine. I don't know. I guess in today's society that's not really a thing, but I think when it comes to graphics and stuff like that, it is still a thing in a lot of ways. Okay, let's go ahead and add our deer. And he's just kind of going to be hopping. We want to leave room for our sentiment up here. And that one is already stamped on. So this little guy, he should have been tucked in there before I glued it down. And I forgot all about it. So let's see. I think we can do a little trick right here that will fix that for us. This is the die piece that I used. So I'm just going to lay him in here like I want him, and I'm going to take a pencil and just trace that corner. Whoops, my pencil had no point. There we go. There we go. So now I'm just going to trim right there along my pencil line. And hopefully he'll be just right for our corner. We'll see. Not bad. There, that worked. Okay. There's always a way, right? If you make if you leave something out like that, you just go about it a different way. Normally I would have tucked him in before I glued it down, but I forgot. Go. I kind of liked his antlers being, in this one too, being over the edge of the frame. Let's see. I think I want him more on this side and the strip down the other side behind him. I'm able to use my plaid in the background there to kind of help me get that on straight. Alright, so to finish our cards off, we're going to put our sentiments on. So I'm just going to grab a block and some ink. So the first one here is "Oh Dear, Another Year." I like this block a little better because it has the lines in it, and that will help me get it straight. Put that one right up here. And this one, "You Are So Dear to Me." Put that one right over here. And our final saying is "Good things come to those who wait," and hopefully this will fit right over here. Yep. All right, I love how that font stamps. That's a pretty font for these cards, I think. Okay, now to finish these up, like I said, I do like to keep my masculine cards to a minimum on their decorations, but I did have these kind of black and gold gems that I thought added a little bit to these cards. So I'm not going to put a lot, but just 3 on each one. And I'm going to be very random. And mostly just to highlight the trying to decide here. I don't think I'm overthinking it. My glue's sticking, so dripping big. So, okay, now we're just going to add a few gems to each one. That one's a little big. I'm going to go for a little bit smaller one. All right, there we go. And that completes our trio of simple masculine cards. And keeping it simple is one of my tips here for masculine cards. The monotone, the straight lines, the I forget my list. But let me grab the other cards that we have made. Adding the dark colors there too. Here are some of the others that we've made during our masculine card series. We've got our kind of robot for our techie guys. Here's one that's definitely colorful and no dark colors, so you definitely can still make masculine cards with that. And this is the one that originally I did upside down, but I did fix that and get that straightened out. And then the Let the Good Times Roll. So you can see here are just a handful of masculine cards with some of the great images and products that Whimsy offers. And I hope this has inspired you, that if you've got sons or husbands that you need to make cards for sometimes, that this gives you some fun ideas to use. So, okay, thank you so much for joining me today. And like I said, some of my videos will be pre-recorded here in the next few weeks, so keep an eye out on that. You can find those on the Whimsy YouTube channel under the videos. And do give us a thumbs up. That always helps distribute the videos, and all the products are listed below the video. All right, enjoy this beautiful day, and I look forward to crafting with you again soon. Have a great one. Bye-bye.